Alright, thanks for joining to my channel. So today we're gonna go revision and we will be revising quadratic formula for quadratic equations. So here are the set of questions. I just split in two parts. So up to 2, make a screenshot or just pause the video, try to solve by your own. Then that's the second set of questions from 3 to 4. Actually, you might find different questions here, but in most cases we'll be considering quadratic and all other equations that can be converted into quadratic form, right? You might see fractional equations, so just make sure you remember that from the previous videos. If not, just check out my quadratic formula explanation and let's start solving. So first one, solve quadratic equation below for 1 3. We just need to solve means find x's. All right, so find solution, find roots. Okay, x squared plus 2 equals 6x. All right, what we're gonna do, we just simply need to transfer all terms to the left side so that to have a general quadratic form. And just remind you that general quadratic form should be set up in this manner, and our goal is to determine coefficient a, b, and c in order to use quadratic formula. All right, then the second step, after we compare with x squared plus bx and plus c, and we establish the values for a. Make sure you understand why it's 1. So b is -6 and c is 2. Okay, so we want to figure out discriminant. So discriminant in the quadratic formula, that's specific expression b squared minus 4ac, which stays in the expression for roots. So the expression for the roots is minus b plus square root of discriminant. That way it stays. Okay, so that's discriminant and it stays here. All right, over to a. Why first we need to calculate discriminant? Because we need to make sure that it's more equal than 0 so that we keep solving our equations until we find our roots. If it's negative, I just put a mark. If it's negative here, no solutions, right? That's the basics. Make sure you understand why it's so, because that's revision. If it's too early for you, so go back and just watch the quadratic formula and check out the ways I used to do or I used to apply. All right, so in this case, just b squared minus 4ac. We put all our values a, b, and c in the formula. So, and we just simply calculate discriminant. Okay, so let's calculate discriminant. -6 squared is 36 and minus 4ac, so minus 4 times 2 minus 8. So actually you'll get 28. It's not a good number because it's not a square number. So obviously if you have the square root of the discriminant that you found, it's a way of cool if you have a square number. In this case, it's not, so you'll have your answer in the form of the thirds. So make sure you understand that as well. Okay, so let's calculate the values for x. X equals to minus b, in this case minus 6, so it's positive 6, because actually you can consider double minus. So minus before b, and b is -6, so minus 6. Then we have plus minus square root of 28 and over 2a, which is just 2. Keep in mind that coefficient a is 1, so that's because you don't have any visual number before x squared, so it's 1, not 0. Make sure you understand this as well. Alright, so we just simplify and we're writing. So, how to simplify a third? Square root of 28. We can write as multiplication 4 times 7. And after that we can simplify. So 6 plus or minus and square root of 4, because square root of 4 and 7 is going to be like isolated roots, right? Simply we just taking square root of each number that stays under that side. Okay, and we'll get simply 2 square root of 7 and over 2. And now what we're gonna do, we can divide every single top part by 2 because we're eligible to do that. So 6 over 2 is 3 and 2 over 2 is 1. So we'll get 3 plus minus 2 and 2 will be cancelled during division and we'll be left with square root of 7. So hence their solution for the first. All right. So in this case, the second one I'll do a bit faster. I just simply set up discriminant as b squared is 8 squared 64 and minus 4 times 5 minus 20 and we'll get 44. All right, it's also not a good number. However, the solution there will be minus 8 plus minus square root of 44. I'll just write as 4 times 11 and over actually 2a, which is just over 2. And according to the previous one, we can evaluate square root of 4, which is 2, square root of 11 left and over 2, and hence we'll get negative 4 plus minus square root of 11. That's the answer for the second part. All right, so make sure you have the same. Okay, let's move to the next one. So number 2, in this case, the only difference is the leading coefficient a is 5. I just write the formula and you just try to match with what you have, guys. Minus 2 plus minus square root of, so b squared is 2 squared, so it's 4, minus, and minus 4 will give us plus, because when you multiply minus 4ac, you'll get positive 4 times 4, so 4 times 4 times 5, okay? So, and over 2a means over 10. So final we'll get the following, minus 2 plus minus and square root of. We'll get 16, okay? Let's do it quick. So we have 16 times 5 and plus 5. And out of that, we need to calculate square root. So we'll get square root of 85 and over 10. So obviously 85 is, we can factorize that. I mean, split into 2 factors and we'll get square root of, let's say 85 is 5 times what? Times, so let's say it's all obviously divisible by 5, so 5 times 17. But you see, it doesn't lead to necessary effect because square root of 5 and out of 17 doesn't exist. So we just simply left square root of 85 because this is not necessary. All right, so that's the final answer for x. Okay, so let's try to move on to the next one. So that's the answer for the second question, second A. Okay, so this one, let's consider x over x minus 3 over x equals 1. So what I'm gonna do, because I know that I'm dividing 3 by x, so first let's set up that x cannot be 0 because you divide it, right? And having x 0, you just be violating the rules of division. Okay, so in this case, we can take and multiply by x. So we're taking and multiply by x, which is not 0. So what we'll get x squared minus 3 equals x. Then I transfer x to the left side and I'll get minus x minus 3 equals 0. Alright, so how to solve that? The same. Discriminant is positive and just write the solution. So minus minus 1, it's 1 plus minus square root of b squared is 1 squared. So it's minus 1 squared is 1 and plus 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, over 2. So the final solution will be 1 plus minus square root of 13 over 2. Okay, it's done also. So make sure you have at least the top half part and very the same. Okay, so we move next. So 3, 4x squared minus 9. What I can do here, I can apply quadratic formula, but actually I'll do just simple factorizing. Let's have a look. Instead of doing through discriminant, I'll do the simple way. So actually I can get to this simple form. Just remember when x squared equals k, right? So make sure you remember that. And what I'm going to do, I just say that 4x squared equals 9, from where x squared is simply 9 over 4. That's your k value. And then, do you remember how to solve? If not, just go back and all just try to get rid of the drawbacks and settle your knowledge in the right status. So x squared 9 over 4 will get x equals plus or minus square root of 9 over 4, which is plus or minus 3 over 2. That's your final solution. Okay, so we have 2, 1. Okay, this one, quadratic formula revision, right? However, here I'll just apply factorizing methods, and I simply do that. Okay, so b squared is 16. Oh, 16, yeah, it will work. Okay, I just quickly calculate discriminant and it's good number. So for those who are interested in what I'm doing, like mentally, I just calculate discriminant as 16 plus 4 times 5, which is 20. I'll get 36, so it's square numbers. So I can do by factorizing. So I just apply like one part of the quadratic formula to estimate discriminant, and now I know it's good numbers, so I can apply factorizing. So techniques, split it by two factors, x plus a and x plus b equals to 0, right? And our goal is to find a and b, so just I remind you that ab product should be -5, while the sum should give you -4. From where we can establish that, let's say a is -5 and b is 1. So let's check it. -5 times 1, it will work, right? It's -1 and -5, and -5 plus 1 will give you -4. So it works, all right? And we fixed as our a and b. So we'll put them back into factorized form, and simply we're going to say that x is 5 and x is -1. That's why you see discriminant works perfectly. It's sort of pre-estimation. So guys, to recap, if you don't want to apply the whole process of using quadratic formula, because it's obviously like it's a bit more complicated because you need to memorize that. However, if you memorize discriminants and you can work out like quickly, you can try to check it first and then go back to use factorization or factorizing technique. Okay, it's up to you. You can do in different ways. You can start from factorizing, try to pick up numbers, but because I can do easily calculate discriminant, so I first check it and it takes like a second actually. All right, so let's move next. 4, yeah. The last one, the sum of the roots. Find the sum of the roots. So it means if you have 2 roots, you need to find them. If one root, I don't know, just leave as it is, right? Okay, so hopefully we'll have 2 roots, and let's see. X plus 2x minus 1 equals 5. Okay, so don't mess up. It's not 0 here, so it's not equal to 0, so that's why you cannot like equate each one to like 0, because here is the 5, and obviously you cannot equate to, let's say, 5, right? Because it's incorrect. So in this case, you need to expand it. Try to expand. So let's do that. X by x is x squared, x by -1 minus x, then 2x, and then -2. and also minus 5 transferred to the left hand side. So from where we'll get x squared, then plus x and minus 7. So we'll get the quadratic equation, and now just apply quadratic formula. So we'll get the following: x equals minus 1 plus minus square root of discriminant, and discriminant is 1 squared. Just remember b squared minus 4ac. So let's calculate discriminant. It's 1 plus minus 4 times negative 7 is positive 28 over 2. So finally we'll get minus 1 plus minus square root of 29 in over 2. That's solution for 4a. Okay, we've got that. So that's solution. Okay, so let's move next. That's sort of fractional. We can say that x plus 2 is not 0, and we multiply both parts by x plus 2 in order to get rid of denominator. So here it will be cancelled. So we'll multiply by x plus 2 both parts. X plus 2 by x is simply x times x plus 2. Then we also need add 1 because x plus 2 was cancelled. And on the right side, we'll have 4 times x plus 2. Okay, so I'll just continue with that. I simply expand brackets x squared plus 2x plus 1. Then I'll transfer all expanded expression to the left-hand side. I'll get minus 4x and minus 8 equals 0. Okay, so from where we'll get x squared minus 2x and minus 7. So discriminant and first step. So minus b, it's minus 2 plus minus. So here b squared, it's negative 2 squared, which is 4, and minus 4 times minus 7, it's positive 28 over 2. That's good. And from where you can get 4 and 28 is 32. Alright, so we can completely simplify that. It's going to be 2 plus minus. So 32 is actually 16 times 2. And square root of 16 will get you 4. Okay, so we can write in this manner. And now we simply know that square root of 16 is 4. And let's divide both parts by 2. We'll get 1 plus minus 4 by 2 is 2. So 2 square root of 2. Okay, that's how it works. All right, so let's move next. That's the answer for that one. That's the final answer here. And we'll go next. X plus 1 over x, x over 2. Okay, so we know that x is not equal to 0, but let's resolve in this case as fractional equation. So fractional equation, all right? Make sure you remember how to do it. You just simply take and do crisscross multiplication. So in this case, we'll get 2 times x plus 1. That's left hand side, and x times x on the right side will be x squared. So I transfer everything to the right side, hence I'll get x squared and minus 2 times x plus 1. All right, we'll get 0. X squared minus 2x and minus 2. That's what we have. And again, we set up quadratic formula, minus b plus minus square root of discriminant. So minus 2 is 2, plus minus square root of negative 2 squared is 4, and minus 4 AC. So 4 times negative 2 will get positive 8, okay, and over 2. So final we'll get 2 plus minus square root of 4 plus 8 is 12, and over 2, that's again 4. So 12 is going to be like 4 times 3, and we'll get square root of 4 times 3 over 2. And the final answer for that, we'll get the next one. So 2, oops, we divide by 2, of course. So 2 by 2 is 1, plus minus square root of 4 times 3 is just simply 2 square root of 3. And when we divide by 2, we'll get square root of 3 in the end. Okay, so that's the answer for C. That was for B, for A, for B, for C. So we have those corresponding answer for each exercise and problem below. Okay, so that's the full track. So one more time, that's the final. We'll get solution here. Just make screenshot if you're not really sure how it works. One more time, just keep practicing. Go to the very first example when I show all the details how to work it out, because later I just accelerate it to save your time and my time. And here we also have answer to 2A, 2B, and for also 3 completely. So that's the answer for the whole exercise and problems that you might encounter. So that's definitely high tier, so make sure you understand how it works, because it's really necessary. We start from simple basics and then we finalize it on more complicated examples and problems. Hope you like that. Don't forget to subscribe, share your ideas about what actually you want or you would like to see, like presentation. Maybe it's time to change a little bit presentation. So guys, don't be scared. Just drop some comments. Feel free to do that. Maybe you'll advise more proper techniques for you guys, and then I'll be just choosing to have to be useful, for a variety of students. So peace out.